friends, welcome back to At Home with Chic and Grace. I have a fun project that I've actually been meaning to do for quite some time now, like a couple of years. So, first of all, I have been collecting these containers for a few years, and I use them throughout my home in my decor in various ways. But I want to add a few different pieces, and I wanted to try to recreate this look. And I made these yesterday. That's actually my favorite side on this one, and I love all that chippiness in that. These were just galvanized pieces that I have had for years. They aren't as white, but that is easily fixed. I can just brush on some more white wax, which I probably will do. And you know what? And it's okay even if they're not exactly the same. You can use less antiquing wax. I mean, I was pretty minimal with it, but I could have wiped it back just a smidge more. Anyhow, I'm really happy with them. Let me move these just so that I can show you the piece that we're going to work on. So I bought this at the thrift store, and I do actually really like it, but this color does not go in my decor. So I'm going to give it a cleaning, and then we are going to come back and give it this treatment, and then I'm going to put a grapevine heart topiary in there. And so I've got a few things that we're going to do in this video to zhuzh that up. I'm actually going to make 3 bigger heart topiaries. And then I'm going to make some smaller ones as well. So I'm not sure exactly what other pots I'm using for them yet, but that one I am definitely using. And I'm not even sure what's going to go in these, but I am super happy with how they turned out. So the supplies that we are going to use is, I used Fusion's Midnight Blue because the base of a lot of these is navy, like there's blue tones in all of these. So, but there's a little bit of gray too, and to get like this cement look, I used some Snowdrop. And then I don't have any Fusion black, so I just threw some black gesso into this mix with a sponge brush. And I added salt wash. Then we're going to go through and use some milk paint. And that's what's going to help give us all this beautiful chippiness. And so I will show you how to do that. But I'm going to go get this guy cleaned up, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I give this guy a cleaning. I didn't clean the inside, but that's okay. What I've done on my palette to the side here is I've just mixed up my Midnight Blue. This is the black gesso, and the white, all with salt wash. So I don't even know. I want to say it was equal parts, but maybe it wasn't. There probably is more paint than salt wash in here, but just add a little, mix it up. I want it chunky. That is how you're gonna get this look in here, and all of these all this texture. Sorry, tripping over my words, but all this texture. That's how you're going to achieve this look. So you want it really quite chunky. The other thing that I'm going to do is, I'm starting to learn to put gloves on here, guys. I'm using a sea sponge, and I want this on like thick. And you will likely have to mix this up a few times. And I am just randomly picking up the colors here and getting them on. So I'm just going to do that over the entire thing. Now, I wanted to point out too that there's some rust on this piece. So if you didn't want that to come through, like if you had a piece like this that had some rust on it, then you would probably want to spray seal this first with like a shellac or something. But I actually am okay if, excuse me, if rust actually starts to come through on this piece. So I am going to go ahead and finish painting all of this. If a little bit of the green still is peeking through this, that's okay. So the galvanized ones, I let a little bit of the galvanized tin poke through. So, and sometimes I get like really, I don't know if you can see this, really high ridges. I'm not even sure if you guys can see that or not. Peaks, not ridges. I'm okay with that too, because when we go to do the next step, you want some of that thick texture coming through. So, all right, I am going to finish this up and let it dry. We'll be back. All right, this is nice and dry. What I've done is I've taken my candle wax. This is just an old candle, and I have actually rubbed everywhere, all over the rim, the handle, everything. And you will get some crumbly wax. I'm not sure if you can see that. You'll get some crumbly wax. I leave it because it really adds to the effect. The wax is going to help your milk paint crackle and chip a little bit more. So, but milk paint does have a mind of its own. So I like to put more candle wax on than you probably think you need to, because sometimes it doesn't chip and come off where you think it's going to. So I always, more candle wax is better, especially if you are really wanting that crackly, chippy look. And because I'm using Homestead House milk paint, so I just find that this is the best technique that I have found for me. Okay, so I also mix my milk paint up thicker. I also find the thicker the milk paint and the thicker you apply it, the more cracking and chipping you get as well. So mix it up, let it sit. Mine's a little on the chunky side because this was mixed up yesterday and I had it really thick yesterday. So it kind of almost solidified on me a little bit. So I had to really work it to get it not so solid anymore. Anyhow, you don't have to, yeah, this is really chunky. I wasn't sure. I thought, well, I'll just try it anyhow. Anyhow, what I was going to say is that you don't have to go in any direction here. You can just crosshatch. You can go back and forth, just any which way. I'm not worried about these chunks here. To me, they are just going to add to it, and if any of them are too big, I'll just take them off. But I think what I'm going to do is just mix up a little bit more fresh stuff, and we will get a good coat of this on here. The other ones I did, I only had to do one coat on each, but this one I might have to do 2 coats if I continue using this container of milk paint. So once this is all done, I'm going to get my heat gun and I am going to dry it with the heat gun, and it is going to help that cracking happen and that chippiness, and then I'll mix up some more and we'll do a second coat. But really, those chunks kind of are working themselves down. I just didn't want to waste my milk paint, so I thought, well, I might as well just try it and see if it works. All right, so I've had that first coat on, and I didn't get it on very thick because my mixture just wasn't that great. But I continued with it. And I took my heat gun out and I dried it. So I'm getting some cracking, some chipping. So that's great because I want that. What I like to do is just kind of go over it with my hands and let's see what's gonna just fall off. And then we're gonna take sandpaper and we're gonna go over this some more. And I really like this, how it is going right back down to the colors underneath. So I'm going to run over this with the sandpaper. You can also use an electric sander if you want as well, but I feel like I have a little bit more control with this one. And the other thing that I like to do sometimes is this little plastic scraper I have. You can just run through and it's going to scrape off all those high points that the salt wash and then the chunks in my milk paint created, but it gives it that extra texture and reveals what's below. So we're going to go over this and then I'm going to go back over the entire thing with wax and I'm going to mix myself up some new milk paint, let it sit and thicken up a little bit without all the chunkies, and we're going to go over it again. So I will be back. Okay, before I put my second coat of milk paint on, I just wanted to show you how much I sanded this down and what it's looking like. And I think it looks really great like this too, but I want a little bit more milk paint on here. So I've sanded it all down. I did bring my block out because that is just easier, I find. I'm letting some of the green come through that was down there before. I'm really liking that. And I sanded quite a bit because I really want some of my dark to still go through. And I have now gone over this with wax everywhere again. And I just feel like there might not be enough on there. So you should be able to feel the wax on there. That's why I was like, oh, I don't think that there's enough on. So I want lots under the handle because I feel like that would be a natural spot for it to be worn. I started painting this and realized maybe I should turn the camera on. I wanted you to see like how thick, well, it's thick, but it still will drip off my brush here, and how heavy I'm putting it on, because this is going to give us some of the best chipping and crackling. But milk paint is unpredictable, so you never know. That's why I always put so much wax on. Anyhow, I'm going to cover this all, and then I'm going to hit it again with my heat gun just to help that cracking and chipping along. Okay, so this is all dried with my heat gun, and I got some really great cracking in there and some chipping. I got some bigger stuff over here. So you can take a scraper, your finger, your sander. I will go over it with my sander and get some of it off. If you didn't want it to come off, like if you liked the way it looks and you didn't want it to chip away, then this is where you would seal it with a spray sealer to kind of essentially seal it in, glue them down. But I've done that. If it's a lot of flaking, sometimes it will still come off, but that generally would help it. Okay, so I've got it all sanded. And I just started putting some clear wax on here. I'm putting clear wax on because I'm not going to spray seal this with anything. I have no intentions on putting any water or anything in here, and wax will seal it. And I'm also putting the wax on so that I have more control over the antiquing wax that I'm going to put on. If you were going to use this with like a real plant and have like the soil right in there, then I would seal this with an outdoor sealer before I put my wax on. But that's not the case. So I'm going to get this on all over, and then I'm going to come back and I am going to put the dark antiquing wax in select areas. And then I will use my clear wax as an eraser if I get it on too heavy. I use bare wax. So this is my clear bare wax. And then I've got the bare antiquing wax, and I will use some white bare wax as well. I just find that when I'm got the desired look that I want, I kind of use the white wax to skim over top of the high spots, and it just brightens it back up a little bit. Because remember I was saying before that it's not as white. I could have used a different milk paint, like I used Gustavian white. I could have used like Hotel Robe or something, but I don't know, I like it. So but the white wax will help brighten it back up too. So you can see some of my blue through there, and not blue, the green, and then of course all the blue paint that we put underneath. But I like that you can see some of the green from the previous paint job through there. Okay, so I'll keep my clear wax handy. We've got the brown wax out, and I just want to put this in those places that it would naturally kind of collect, or there would be a shadow. So just a few spots along the bottom, couple spots there, and then let's get paper towel handy so that we can wipe it off right away. And if it gets on too much, like if I can't wipe enough away, then I can take my clear wax and wipe it away, and then that dark will just stay down in those cracks, and that's really what I want it to do. Like this clear has already accentuated all of this, but the dark is going to get down into those cracks even more, which I want. You see how it's getting down in there, and just by taking the clear wax, going over top of it lightens the top, but keeps the wax down into the dark areas. Just gonna hit the high spots with this. And I actually like just to let my white wax kind of just sit on here. I don't really do any wiping back. This is like my favorite part over here. Love how it like all chipped off on me like that. Okay, I was gonna send. Okay guys, you are gonna have a very hard time seeing this. All I've done is I've got a branch from my garden. I just went out and pruned a couple trees and I just wired my heart on, and I didn't have much floral foam left, so I just put my biggest pieces in the center and I just put all the bits and pieces around it. So it's in there. It's in there good. I'm not going to glue it in. I think I need to do this just a smidge tighter. My wire, I don't think I tied it very tight. But I'm not going to glue this in because I want to be able to take this out and then use this pot for other things. So we're just going to put this aside. I'm going to fill this with moss, and then I've got a couple little other ideas to embellish this. But what I want to do is, just want to clean my mat off here quickly. I have an idea in my head for ribbon, and I'm just not finding what I want. So I am going to take IOD's Flora and Vine stamp, and I am going to make my own ribbon. I've got two different pieces of muslin here. This one's whiter and this one's creamier. So I'm going to see which one I like the best. Probably stamp them both. So I'm just going to tear some of that up, and then I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to stamp with, I don't even have it on me. I'll come back with that, but I think I'm going to do this one. I'm going to try to stamp it. I also like this one. I like them all, but I just want to make a bow for this. So, okay, let me come back. Okay, I've just cut myself two pieces of the muslin here. One is more white, one is more cream. I've never used this stamp before, so the first thing you want to do if you've never used them before is goodness, I need a clean sanding block here. Anyhow, you just want to season it. This just helps the stamp take the ink better. So just go over it lightly with a sanding block in all directions. I've got this one already mounted on the thin mount. I think I'm going to try this one. I like this one, but I don't know. I think one of these ones might just be the winner. So I've got IOD's China Blue, and I'm just going to off the edge. Okay, I'm just going to use this to start with here. Make sure that I want it the way it is. Oh, look how pretty that is. That is going to be so, so pretty. Okay, so we're just going to go for it then. Let's just ink this back up. So we're going to have to do this a few times. I should have maybe ironed that first. It'll be okay. I don't need this to be perfect. Yeah, I certainly didn't get it on there straight, but that's okay. Just press it down with nice even pressure. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. So pretty. Okay. I'm going to finish inking this one up with this stamp. I'm going to bring it closer to me. So okay, I actually really like both of them. So I don't know which one I'm going to do. Now you could stamp the other side as well so that it is double-sided, but I'm not going to. I am just going to make myself a bow, and we'll see. I'll probably tie it on rather than making the bow and gluing it on. I'll probably tie it on, but I actually think that this is going to be it. It would be really nice to even use one of the bigger stamps here and stamp, maybe not necessarily this one, that one would work, but stamp a whole bunch of fabric and then tear it. That would be really pretty too. I've got some other bigger stamps, floral stamps. I think that would be really a good idea with. I actually have a few fabric projects that we are going to do here soon, I hope, that are going to include the stamps. So I'm kind of excited about that. But like, that is a really pretty bow. And this one too. This one will be a little bit more rustic looking, if you will. I'm just lost for words there. Just because I didn't get it on straight. Plus it's creamy with the frayed edges. I mean, they both have frayed edges, but this one they just have different feels to them. This is still nice and light and airy and delicate, and this just has a different feel, and I like them both. So anyhow, I don't want to tie them tight. I'm not leaving them on there. So I got to decide which one I'm going to use. Okay, so we're going to make some tags. Now I'm not sure if I mentioned that I'm making some smaller topiaries as well. Let me actually grab it and show you. I've got this grapevine heart garland that I've had for years. I have no idea where I got it. I've had it for years. But anyhow, I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to make, I think, only 3 small heart topiaries. I'll show pictures at the end. So I'm going to make this little tag to maybe hang on that. And I'm going to do a paint inlay. I think I might use this blue floral. And then I've got this cute little bow that I cast, and I will most likely paint him gold. I was thinking that I could do this on there, which would also be really cute. And then put the bow on there too. But I actually think I'm going to do the rose. I've used this rose already on my tea box that I did last year, so it'll be really, really faint because it'll be the second use. Okay, then I've got this label holder I bought them so that I could make some labels for my herbs, which I do want to do, but we are going to make this go on there. So what I have here is I made this label from olive crest. This is an IOD mold olive crest, and all I've done is paint it with blue, a champness, sorry, fusion mineral paint. And then I've got my letters sitting out here already, and this is, oops, I was grabbing for it. This is the Apothecary labels stamp set from IOD, and you get 4 different labels. Oops. 4 different alphabets. All thumbs here. So we're going to use one. I've got love out there now, and then also, of course, comes with these labels, which are really great as well. Then, I just want, while I have this here, and I'll tell you about the bow in a second, I like to lay it out, make sure it's nice and even, and then I can get my spacing right, and then stick it on the back of here. And then I'll line everything up before we stamp it on. I'm probably just going to use the China Blue again. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to like that on there. So if I don't like it, I have another idea. Now, this bow, and this bow that you see here are all from Redesign Timeless Ties. So I've just poured everything ahead of time here, and I painted all this white with Snowdrop. This bird is from IOD's Sparrow's Nest. So all of this will be linked in the description as well. I'm going to glue these on here. This is actually a sublimation plant stick. So I just kind of sanded it, painted it with champness, and then I've sanded it back a little bit more. We're going to do some gold on these, antiquing, so that they match the pot that we made. Okay, actually what I wanted to mention here was when I cast this, I took it out and immediately set it on here and pressed it down because I wanted it to kind of form to this so that when it glues on, it's going to glue on flush. So I'm just going to straighten these out a bit. Perfect. Okay, we're going to let that dry. So, I have used Fusion for this before, and it has worked just fine for me. Let's just get I just want a little bit of a smaller brush here. You want to get a generous amount on. I did paint this in champness to begin with, and then I had changed my mind, so I did sand the edges. Now, say you want a generous amount. Let's spray the inlay. pretty sure that's going to be good. I just want to make sure that I'm leaving room for my bow. Okay. Okay, let's just let that dry. Whoops. I'm going to use this antique gold metal, it's pigment, and we'll use Pentart's Pigment Fix. Okay, so I don't need much, but I want to use it on all of those bows, and I want to use it around the edge of here. I think that's... Okay, our paint inlay is dry, so let's just mist it with some water. And then I'm just going to grab a baby wipe. You can use paper towel as well. And I'm just getting rid of the excess water and just making sure that that inlay is damp again, so it will pull off easily from the surface. Usually let it sit for a few seconds to a minute, but I just went for it. It was releasing beautifully. So this inlay is a little bit more faded because remember, it's my second use, and you can see some of the dark pieces around the edges, and I think it is perfect, especially with that gold little bow. So we will let that completely dry before we seal it. Okay, everything is all dry, and I've glued all the bows and my birdie on. I also painted that stick with the gold pigment fix as well. So we're going to go over everything with clear wax first. If you've watched my videos before, you know I like to do that so I can control how heavy my dark wax goes on. And I want these to look like they're a little older, like the pot that we just made. I don't want them to be all shiny and new looking. So I'm also going to use the wax to seal the paint inlay. You can take that paint inlay out and spray varnish it if you like, but this will seal it just fine. So again, we're going to go over everything with the clear wax, and then we are going to come back in with the dark wax and put it on, wipe it off. You can use your clear wax as an eraser as well if you're having problems wiping it off in some spots. And then you're going to see that I am going to brush over it lightly with some white wax. Okay, these are all done. I am loving how they turned out. They're going to look super cute. I originally was thinking that I would use this one that I'm showing you here that's hanging for Valentine's, and then because I plan on leaving these up through the spring and possibly summer, I'd use the bird one in the summer and make maybe a different one for Easter, but I actually ended up putting this bird one in one of the other topiaries. You'll see at the end, and I think they're just going to stay like that. So this garland, I bought at Michael's. It's the mini ficus garland. I'm in Canada, so it's more expensive, but I am able to get it 2-for-1 when I bought this. So and it's super easy just to pull those pieces apart. And I kind of just place them in, and then I hot glue them into place once I decide that I am committed. So I'm just going to tie the ribbon on before I finish putting all the greenery on. That way I have a better visual of where that ribbon is going to be, because I don't want the greenery to hang down too low over top of it. So then once I'm done, I am going to just trim it down and fray the edges where I cut. And it's not on camera, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was zoomed in this close for this part of it. So you will see it all in the finished photos, and you'll see the little mini ones that I make. But thanks for joining me, and we will see you next time. Bye.